The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched out like a giant bowl made of crystal and metal. Thousands of alien beings filled the floating seats that circled the center stage. Some looked like walking trees with too many arms. Others were covered in scales that changed colors when they talked. A few were just floating clouds of gas that spoke through mechanical boxes. Ambassador Kim Tae-ho stood in the center of it all. He was a tall man with kind eyes and gray hair at his temples. His simple blue uniform looked plain next to the fancy robes and armor worn by the alien diplomats around him. Behind him stood Admiral Park Soo-jin, a woman with sharp features and hands that never stopped moving. She wore a dark military uniform covered in metals that most aliens did not understand. Kim Tae-ho had been Earth's main voice in the Galactic Council for 15 years. In all that time, he had been patient and polite. When aliens made jokes about humans being weak, he smiled and said nothing. When they called Earth a barely livable rock, he nodded and asked for small favors instead of big ones. This was how humans had always acted in the galaxy. Quiet, careful, never causing trouble. Today felt different. Counselor Vextar rose from his seat high above the floor. He was a member of the Hegemony, the most powerful group of species in the galaxy. His body looked like a giant insect made of black metal. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding gears. The human delegation has once again requested mining rights in Sector 12, Vextar announced to the chamber. This request shows a dangerous lack of understanding. Sector 12 contains 17 star systems with conditions that would kill any living being in minutes. The radiation alone would melt our strongest ships. Murmurs of agreement echoed through the chamber. Many aliens nodded their various heads or made sounds that meant they agreed. Kim Tae-ho noticed how they all looked at him with what humans might call pity. They thought they were protecting him from his own stupidity. Ambassador Kim, continued Vextar, your species comes from what we classify as a Class 7 danger world. This means your planet is already at the edge of what life can survive. We understand that your people are brave, but requesting access to Class 10 extinction zones shows you do not understand the true dangers of space. Kim Tae-ho felt Admiral Park Soo-jin shift behind him. Her breathing had changed in a way that meant she was getting angry. He had learned to read these signs over the years of working together. Park Soo-jin had spent her whole career hiding what human ships could really do. She had watched alien vessels struggle through areas where human children took school trips. Counselor Vexatar speaks wisdom, said another voice. This came from Ambassador Quinara of the Stellar Federation. She looked like a tall blue crystal that reflected light in pretty patterns. The humans have shown great courage in surviving their harsh world and establishing 13 colonies. But these new sectors they request are beyond survival. They are beyond death itself. More sounds of agreement filled the chamber. Kim Tae-ho counted them in his head. 47 major species represented here, 47 civilizations that controlled thousands of star systems, and all of them thought humans were lucky to have made it this far. The truth was very different. Kim Tae-ho knew that human ships had been secretly exploring Sector 12 for 8 years. The mining operation they were requesting permission for had been running at full capacity for 6 months. The deadly radiation that would melt alien ships was something human workers dealt with using basic protective gear. Some of the younger miners did not even bother with helmets. He also knew that Earth's 13 official colonies were just the ones they told the galaxy about. The real number was closer to 400. Humans had spread to worlds that made their home planet look like a peaceful garden. They built cities inside gas giant storms and grew food on planets where the rain was liquid metal. But they had kept all of this secret. The decision had come from Earth's government 30 years ago when humanity first met alien life. The aliens seemed so afraid of dangerous places that humans decided to be polite about their own abilities. It seemed like the kind thing to do. We propose the Deathworlder Containment Protocol, announced Vextar. The chamber fell silent. This new law will help protect brave species like the humans from their own dangerous curiosity. All Class 7 and above species will be restricted to worlds with safety ratings they can actually survive. Kim Tae-ho blinked slowly. They wanted to cage humanity based on their own fears and wrong ideas. He looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at him. Most showed what he had learned to recognize as concern. They really thought they were helping. The vote will be held tomorrow, Vextar continued. Given the clear danger to human life, we expect full support for this protection measure. Kim Tae-ho felt something change inside his chest. 30 years of careful diplomacy, 30 years of pretending to be weaker than they were, 30 years of letting aliens think they knew better about what humans could survive. And now they wanted to build a cage and call it kindness. Admiral Park Soo-jin leaned forward just enough to whisper in his ear. Sir, we have 17 battle groups currently operating in what they call impossible space. Our newest colony ship is building a city inside a star. Our children are playing games in environments these beings think would kill their greatest warriors. Kim Tae-ho nodded slowly. He thought about the mining crews working happily in Sector 12, probably wondering why it was taking so long to get official permission for something they were already doing. He thought about the colony worlds where millions of humans were living comfortable lives in places the galaxy had marked as certain death. He thought about Captain Choi Hyun-woo and his crew, who were currently using the impossible-to-navigate Maelstrom Nebula as a shortcut to deliver medical supplies to a human settlement, the same nebula that had destroyed 3 alien exploration fleets in the past century. The vote would pass tomorrow. Every alien species in the chamber would agree that humans needed to be protected from themselves. They would create laws to keep humanity away from the very places where humans were already building their future. Kim Tae-ho reached into his pocket and touched the communication device that connected him directly to Earth Command, the device that could send a message to every human ship, station, and colony in the galaxy, the device he had never used for anything more serious than routine reports. His finger hovered over the activation button. Once he pressed it, everything would change. The galaxy would learn that their assumptions about humanity were not just wrong, but dangerously wrong. The careful balance of 30 years of diplomacy would end. But the alternative was worse. The alternative was letting fear and ignorance decide humanity's future. Kim Tae-ho made his choice. He pressed the button and spoke 3 words that would echo across the stars and change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Remove all limiters. Dr. Lee Boram stood in her laboratory watching numbers dance across holographic screens. Outside the thick windows of her research station, a pulsar spun like a cosmic lighthouse. Every few seconds, beams of deadly radiation swept past her facility. The beams carried enough energy to cook an entire planet in milliseconds. The Galactic Council had marked this system as Absolute Death Zone Omega. According to their science, nothing could survive here for more than a few heartbeats. They were wrong. Dr. Lee had been living here for 3 years, studying gravitational waves and collecting data that was impossible to gather from safer locations. Her morning routine included checking radiation levels the same way people on other worlds might check the weather. Today was what she called a light day, because the pulsar was only putting out enough energy to power a small star. Her assistant, Yoon Da-eun, burst through the laboratory door carrying a message tablet. Da-eun was young and excited about everything, which made her perfect for working in places the galaxy thought were impossible. Her eyes were wide with something that looked like joy and terror mixed together. Dr. Lee, you need to see this, Da-eun said, holding up the tablet with shaking hands. It came from Earth Command. Priority 1 emergency communication. Dr. Lee took the tablet and read the message. It was short but contained words that made her heart beat faster. Ambassador Kim Tae-ho had given the order. After 30 years of hiding, humanity was about to show the galaxy who they really were. All black projects are now public knowledge, Dr. Lee read out loud. Full capability disclosure is authorized. Operation Gentle Giant is terminated effective immediately. Daeun bounced on her feet like a child on her birthday. Doctor, do you know what this means? We can finally tell them the truth. We can show them what we have really been doing out here. Dr. Lee set down the tablet and looked out at the pulsar again. In a few hours, every alien species in the galaxy would learn that humans had not just survived in this place, but had built a thriving research community. They would learn that the small outpost the humans had reported was actually a city of 50,000 people living comfortably in the heart of what aliens considered the most dangerous place in the known universe. She activated her communication system and began composing a message that would change everything. The message would go out on all public frequencies where every alien government could intercept it. There would be no more hiding. This is Research Station Hope located in the Vega Pulsar system, she began. We are broadcasting our full operational status to all interested parties. Our population is currently 49,812 human residents. We operate 17 major research facilities, 4 manufacturing plants and 1 recreational complex. Our safety record shows 0 fatalities from environmental hazards in the past 18 months. Meanwhile, 300 light-years away, Captain Choi Hyun-woo received the same message while his ship traveled through the Maelstrom Nebula. The nebula was a swirling storm of gas, radiation, and gravitational anomalies that stretched across 12 star systems. Alien ships needed months to carefully navigate around it. Human ships used it as a highway. Captain Choi stood on the bridge of his vessel, the Indomitable, watching his crew work with casual efficiency. His navigation officer, Lieutenant Kim Min-soo, was calculating their route through a particularly dense section of the nebula. The young man worked with the same relaxed focus he might use to plan a trip to the grocery store. "Captain," said his communications officer, "Earth Command is asking for a demonstration. They want us to show the Hegemony observation fleet how we travel through the Maelstrom." Captain Choi smiled. The Hegemony had positioned a fleet of their best ships at a safe distance from the nebula. They had been watching human vessels disappear into the impossible storm for years, convinced that the ships were being destroyed. They never saw the ships emerge from the other side because they never bothered to check. The idea that anything could survive passage through the Maelstrom was beyond their understanding. "Set course for the Hegemony fleet," Captain Choi ordered. "Let us give them a show they will never forget." The Indomitable changed course and headed directly toward the alien ships. Captain Choi activated his external communications and sent a message to the Hegemony fleet commander. "This is Captain Choi Hyun-woo of the human vessel Indomitable. We understand you have questions about our navigation methods. We would be happy to provide a demonstration." The reply came back immediately. The alien commander sounded confused and worried. "Human vessel, you are heading directly into the Maelstrom. This is certain death. Change course immediately." "Thank you for your concern," Captain Choi replied. "We appreciate your warning, but we have business on the other side of the nebula. Our estimated travel time is 47 minutes. Please feel free to observe." The Indomitable plunged into the swirling chaos of the Maelstrom. On the bridge, the crew continued their normal duties while outside the ship. Forces that could tear apart planets raged around them. Lieutenant Kim Min-soo called out course corrections like he was directing a taxi through city traffic. "Gravitational shear on the port side, Captain. Adjusting course by 2 degrees. Plasma storm ahead, taking us under the main flow. Temporal distortion detected, compensating with standard protocols." Each casual announcement would have sent alien crews into panic. The forces they described were the kind of things that ended civilizations. But for the crew of the Indomitable, they were just normal hazards to navigate around. Back at Research Station Hope, Dr. Lee was receiving reports from human facilities across the galaxy. The reports painted a picture that would shock every alien government. Humans had not been struggling to survive in dangerous places. They had been building an empire in locations the galaxy thought were empty because they were too deadly to explore. Mining Colony 7 reports full operations in the Cygnus black hole system. Dawn read from incoming messages. They are harvesting exotic matter from the accretion disk. Production is ahead of schedule. Science Station Beta has established a research outpost inside a magnetar field. They report the magnetic conditions are excellent for their experiments on fundamental forces. Colony ship New Horizon has successfully established a settlement on a world with surface temperatures of 800 degrees Celsius. The colonists report the warm weather is perfect for their new thermal agriculture program. Dr. Lee listened to report after report. Each one described humans living and working in conditions that would instantly kill any other known species. Not just surviving, but thriving. Not just existing, but building a civilization that spanned the galaxy's most dangerous regions. The truth was spreading now. There would be no way to stop it. Every alien intelligence service would be analyzing the broadcasts, trying to understand how they had been so completely wrong about humanity's capabilities. Captain Choi's voice came through the communication system from the Maelstrom. "Research Station Hope, this is Indomitable. We have successfully demonstrated standard nebula navigation to the Hegemony fleet. The alien observers appear to be in some form of shock. Their commander has requested emergency medical assistance for his bridge crew." Dr. Lee laughed. It was not a cruel laugh, but one filled with relief. For 30 years, humans had pretended to be less than they were. They had watched alien species treat them like children who needed protection from the dangerous universe. Now the galaxy would learn the truth. Humans were not the ones who needed protection. The galaxy was about to discover that the species they had been patronizing was capable of things they had never imagined. The beings they had thought of as brave but fragile survivors were actually the most adaptable and resilient form of life anyone had ever encountered, and this was just the beginning of what they would learn. Grand Admiral Kethmore of the Hegemony Fleet stood frozen on his command bridge. His 6 arms hung at his sides like dead branches. His compound eyes stared at the main display screen where impossible things were happening right in front of him. The human ship called Indomitable had just emerged from the Maelstrom Nebula. Not crashed through it, not barely survived it. The ship had glided out of the deadly storm like a fish swimming through calm water. The human captain was even broadcasting cheerful status reports during the journey. "Sir," his tactical officer Yixtal whispered. The young Vorthon's scales had turned pale gray, which meant he was terrified. The human vessel took 43 minutes to cross the Maelstrom. Our best computer models say crossing should take 6 months, and that assumes the ship survives the journey. Admiral Kethmore felt his breathing slow down. In his 200 years of military service, he had seen many strange things. But this was beyond strange. This challenged everything he thought he knew about physics and survival. "Show me the readings again," he ordered. The data scrolled across his screens. The human ship had traveled through gravitational forces that should have crushed it into a single atom. It had passed through radiation fields that should have melted every molecule. It had navigated temporal distortions that should have scattered it across different centuries, and the humans had done it all while having casual conversations about the weather. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we are receiving broadcasts from human facilities across the galaxy." "The data is disturbing." Admiral Kethmore watched as report after report flooded his intelligence networks. Each report was worse than the last. The humans had not just survived in dangerous places. They had built a civilization that spanned every type of deadly environment the galaxy contained. He stared at coordinates for human facilities located inside black holes, on the surface of neutron stars, and in the hearts of stellar explosions. Each location was marked as absolute death zone in hegemony databases. Each location was supposed to be impossible for any form of life to approach, much less inhabit. "How many humans are there?" he asked quietly. Yixtal checked his calculations 3 times before answering. "Based on these broadcasts, sir, we estimate the human population at over 2 billion individuals. That is 30 times larger than our previous estimates." Meanwhile, on a world called Infernus Prime, Commander Ojin-A was preparing to welcome her first official alien visitors. Infernus Prime orbited so close to its star that Lyd would melt on the cool side of the planet. The human city was built on the day side, where temperatures reached levels that would vaporize most metals. Commander Ojin-A stood in her office wearing a simple work uniform. Through her window she could see human children playing in parks while stellar fire raged overhead. The city's protective dome was purely decorative. Humans could survive on this world without any protection at all. Her communication system chimed with an incoming message. "Commander, the alien delegation has arrived. They are requesting permission to land." "Grant permission," she replied. "Direct them to landing pad 7. And make sure someone meets them with environment suits. They are going to need them." The alien delegation consisted of representatives from 12 different species. They had come in the most advanced protective ship their combined technologies could build. The ship's hull was designed to survive direct hits from stellar weapons. Its shields could deflect the radiation from a supernova. Its life support systems were rated for the most extreme environments known to science. They were barely adequate for landing on Infernus Prime. "Commander." Ojine walked across the landing field to meet her guests. She wore no protective gear. The radiation that was slowly cooking the alien ship's hull felt like warm sunshine on her skin. The atmospheric pressure that was straining their ship's structural supports was perfectly normal for her. The alien delegation emerged from their ship wearing suits that made them look like walking tanks. Each suit was a masterpiece of engineering designed to keep its occupant alive in conditions that would kill most life forms instantly. "Welcome to Infernus Prime," Commander Ojine said cheerfully. "I hope your journey was comfortable." The delegation's leader was Ambassador Zrintar of the Galactic Scientific Council. His voice came through his suit's speaker system, distorted by multiple layers of protection. "Commander, our instruments show environmental conditions at Extinction Class Omega. How are you alive? Commander Ojine smiled. This is actually one of our more comfortable worlds. The weather is quite pleasant today. Would you like a tour of the city? She led them through streets where humans went about their daily business. They passed schools where human children learned mathematics while stellar radiation that could kill most aliens in seconds streamed through open windows. They saw restaurants with outdoor seating where families enjoyed meals while the surface temperature could melt copper. Commander, Ambassador Zrintar said, his voice getting higher with each word. Our readings show that unprotected exposure to this environment should cause death in less than 30 seconds. How are these children alive? Oh, they are quite healthy, Commander Ojine replied. In fact, Infernus Prime has one of the lowest medical emergency rates in human space. The children love playing outside because the stellar activity creates such pretty light shows. One of the alien delegates, a crystalline being from the Harmony Collective, was taking readings with a handheld scanner. Commander, I am detecting 17 different types of deadly radiation. The magnetic fields alone should disrupt all biological functions. The temperature readings are beyond our measurement capabilities. Commander Ojine nodded politely. Yes, we chose this location specifically for those conditions. They make it excellent for our solar energy collection systems. We also mine rare isotopes directly from the stellar corona. Very efficient. The delegation stopped walking. Several of them were checking their equipment, convinced their instruments were malfunctioning. The idea that humans were not just surviving, but thriving in these conditions was impossible to accept. Back on Earth, President Nam Ki-young was addressing the Galactic Council via holographic transmission. Behind her, the camera showed Seoul's skyline. Massive towers stretched up into space, connected by bridges that floated without visible support. Ships moved between the towers in formations that seemed to ignore gravity. Representatives of the Galactic Council, President Nam Ki-young began. We have spent 30 years as quiet members of your community. We followed your guidance about safe exploration zones. We accepted your limits on our expansion. We did this because we believed it was the polite thing to do. The council chamber was completely silent. Thousands of alien representatives stared at the transmission, trying to process what they were learning about their junior partners in the galaxy. We now understand that our politeness was misinterpreted as weakness. You have proposed to limit our expansion to protect us from environments you believe are dangerous. This proposal is based on fundamental misunderstandings about human capabilities. President Nam Ki-young paused and touched a control on her desk. The camera view changed to show a human colony built inside a gas giant storm system. Lightning the size of continents arced between city platforms while humans went about their normal activities. This is New Athens, population 4 million. It is located in the Great Red Spot of Kepler 442c. Our colonists chose this location because they enjoy the dramatic weather patterns. The view changed again. This time it showed a mining operation on the surface of a neutron star. Human workers in simple protective suits were extracting exotic matter, while standing in gravitational fields that should compress any normal matter into a single point. This is Mining Station Prometheus. It has been operational for 12 years. Our workers there have developed new techniques for matter extraction that we would be happy to share with interested parties. One by one, President Nam Ki-young showed the galaxy what humanity had really been doing for the past 30 years. Each revelation was more shocking than the last. Humans had not been struggling to expand into the galaxy. They had been building an empire in the spaces between alien civilizations, in the places everyone else thought were empty, because they were too dangerous to approach. We hope this demonstration clarifies any misunderstandings about human limitations, President Nam Ki-young concluded. We look forward to continuing our partnership with the Galactic Council on a more accurate foundation. The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. On Infernus Prime, Commander Ojine was finishing her tour of the alien delegation. Several of the delegates had requested medical attention for what their doctors called impossible sensory overload. They simply could not process what they were seeing. Thank you for visiting, she told them as they returned to their heavily shielded ship. Please come back anytime, and feel free to bring your families. Infernus Prime is a wonderful place to vacation. The galaxy was beginning to understand that everything they thought they knew about humans was wrong, and they had not even seen what humans could do when they stopped being polite. Fleet Admiral Zorthak of the Hegemony War Council stood in his command center surrounded by holographic displays showing the largest military force ever assembled. 10,000 ships from 40 different species floated in perfect formation around his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Each vessel represented the most advanced military technology their civilization could produce. The fleet had been assembled for one purpose: to eliminate the human threat before it could grow any larger. The humans have revealed themselves to be more dangerous than we calculated, Admiral Zorthak announced to his gathered commanders. They have been lying to us for 30 years about their capabilities. This deception ends today. His tactical officer, an insect-like Zephyrian named Clicktar, updated the fleet status displays. Sir, all ships report ready for combat operations. Our combined firepower is sufficient to destroy every human world within 72 hours. Admiral Zorthak felt satisfied with these numbers. The humans had surprised everyone with their survival abilities, but they were still a young species with only a few dozen ships. Quality might help them survive in dangerous environments, but it could not compete with overwhelming quantity. He activated the fleet-wide communication system and prepared to send an ultimatum to human space. 300 light-years away, Captain Shinwoo Jin received the alien transmission, while his battle group conducted what Earth Command called routine exercises near the Cerberus system. The Cerberus system contained 3 black holes orbiting each other in a complex dance that created gravitational waves powerful enough to detect from across the galaxy. Captain Shin stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his tactical displays show human ships moving through the twisted space-time, around the black holes like dolphins playing in ocean currents. His crews used the gravitational effects for navigation practice and energy collection. To them, it was just another day at the office. Captain, his communications officer called out, "We are receiving a transmission from the Hegemony fleet. It appears to be some kind of ultimatum." The message played through the bridge speakers. Admiral Zorthak's voice carried the confidence of someone who believed he held all the advantages. "Human vessels, you have 48 hours to surrender unconditionally. Your species has proven itself to be a threat to galactic stability through deception and dangerous expansion. Submit now, and we will allow your people to survive in designated containment areas. Refuse and we will glass every human world until nothing remains." Captain Shin looked at his tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Kang So-young. She was a small woman with bright eyes who had spent her career making alien military experts look foolish. She was currently reviewing sensor data while eating lunch. "Interesting," Captain Shin said calmly. "So-young, how many ships do we have in this sector?" Lieutenant Commander Kang consulted her displays while taking another bite of her sandwich. "Officially, sir, we have 300 vessels assigned to local operations. Unofficially. Well, would you like the exact count, or should I just give you the general magnitude of our actual force strength?" "The general magnitude will be sufficient, sir. If we include all the ships that are technically not here because they are operating in impossible locations, plus the vessels that are officially listed as destroyed because they are working inside stellar objects, plus the experimental craft that do not officially exist because they violate several laws of physics, we have somewhere between 15 and 20,000 combat-capable vessels within 6 hours of this position." Captain Shin nodded. This matched his own estimates. Human ship construction had not been limited by alien ideas about safe operating environments. While other species built a few expensive ships designed to survive in normal space, humans mass-produced vessels that could operate anywhere in the universe. And how does our firepower compare to the Hegemony fleet? Lieutenant Commander Kang pulled up comparative analysis charts. "Sir, their individual ships are quite impressive. Each one could probably defeat one of our vessels in a fair fight. However, our ships are not designed for fair fights. They are designed to operate in environments that instantly destroy normal vessels." She highlighted several tactical scenarios on her display. For example, we could attack them from inside a star's corona. Their ships would be destroyed by the radiation before they could even locate us. Or we could use the Cerberus black holes to accelerate projectiles to near light speed. Or we could simply appear from locations they think are impossible and disappear back into environments they cannot follow. Captain Shin activated his command communication system. "All human vessels, this is Fleet Command. We have been issued an ultimatum by a hegemony force that appears to believe they have military superiority. They seem to think we only have a few ships operating in normal space. He paused to let his commanders appreciate the humor in that assumption. I believe this presents an excellent opportunity for a practical demonstration of human military capabilities. All vessels are authorized to reveal their true positions and operational status. Let us show our guests what a real space navy looks like. What happened next would be remembered as the moment the galaxy learned that underestimating humans was a fatal mistake. Ships began appearing everywhere. They emerged from inside stars where they had been collecting energy. They rose out of black holes where they had been mining exotic matter. They materialized from nebulas that alien sensors could not penetrate and dimensions that alien science said did not exist. The human battle group that Admiral Zorthak thought consisted of 300 ships revealed itself to be an armada of over 18,000 vessels. Ships that had been hiding in plain sight in locations no alien military planner would think to look. Dr. Bei Sung-ho watched the battle from his research vessel, the Scientific Method. His ship was positioned safely inside a magnetar field, where the magnetic forces would crush any normal vessel into subatomic particles. From this protected position, he had a perfect view of the engagement. Personal research log, he spoke into his recording device. The enemy has opened fire with weapons capable of destroying continents. Our ships are absorbing impacts that could crack planets while maintaining formation inside spatial anomalies that should not permit matter to exist. He watched as human ships danced between gravitational waves from the Cerberus black holes, using forces that could tear apart solar systems as cover from enemy fire. The alien weapons were impressive by any normal standard, but they were designed for normal space combat. This was not normal space combat. The human vessels are engaging in tactical maneuvers that appear to violate causality. Dr. Bei continued. Several ships have used black hole ergospheres to arrive at battle positions before they departed their starting locations. Others are firing weapons from inside stellar cores, using the star's gravity to focus their beams. The hegemony fleet found itself fighting an enemy that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Human ships would emerge from impossible locations, deliver devastating attacks, and vanish back into environments that alien vessels could not approach. Admiral Zorthak watched his tactical displays with growing horror. His ships were being destroyed by weapons they could not effectively return fire against. The human vessels moved through space as if the laws of physics were merely suggestions. Sir, Kliktar reported, his voice trembling, we have lost 70% of our fleet. The humans are fighting from positions our weapons cannot reach. They are using the environment itself as both shield and weapon. How many human ships have we destroyed? Admiral Zorthak asked. Kliktar checked his displays twice before answering. None, sir. We have not successfully destroyed a single human vessel. Several have taken damage, but they retreat into areas we cannot follow and return fully repaired. The battle continued for 6 more hours. It was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of what happened when a species that considered black holes to be scenic vacation spots decided to stop holding back their military capabilities. When the hegemony fleet finally surrendered, only 2,000 of their original 10,000 ships remained functional. The human fleet had not lost a single vessel. Captain Shin accepted the surrender with the same polite courtesy that humans had shown for 30 years. Admiral Zorthak, we appreciate your forces standing down. We hope this demonstration has clarified any misunderstandings about human defensive capabilities. Admiral Zorthak's response came through badly damaged communication equipment. Captain Shin, we did not understand. How is this possible? Admiral, your species has spent millions of years avoiding the dangerous parts of space. We have spent our entire civilization learning to thrive in them. When you fight in normal space, you use the tactics of normal space. When we fight, we use the entire universe as our battlefield. The news of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. 10,000 ships representing the combined military might of 40 species had been defeated by humans who treated the engagement as a training exercise. The galaxy was beginning to understand that they had not been sharing space with a junior partner. They had been sharing space with the apex predators of the universe, and those predators had been politely pretending to. The Galactic Council chambers had never been so quiet. Ambassador Kim Tae-ho stood in the center of the Great Hall, but this time the thousands of alien representatives were not looking down at him with pity or concern. They were looking at him with something much more complex, a mixture of fear, awe, and desperate curiosity. 3 months had passed since humanity revealed their true capabilities. 3 months since the galaxy learned that the species they had been patronizing was actually the most powerful civilization in known space. The political landscape had changed completely. The human delegation has requested permission to address several concerns raised by council members, announced the current council speaker, a floating jellyfish-like being called Coordinator Flexara. Ambassador Kim, the floor is yours. Kim Tae-ho activated his presentation system. The holographic displays around the chamber showed images that still seemed impossible to many of the observers. Human cities floating in gas giant storms. Human children playing on worlds bathed in deadly radiation. Human ships dancing through gravitational anomalies like leaves in a gentle breeze. Honored representatives, Kim Tae-ho began, many of you have asked how humanity survived our homeworld. You have wanted to understand how we developed the ability to thrive in environments you consider lethal. I believe you have been asking the wrong questions. He gestured to the displays showing human colonies in locations marked as absolute death zones on every galactic map. The question is not how we survived Earth. Earth is actually one of the more comfortable worlds in human space. The question you should be asking is, what kind of species looks at the most dangerous places in the universe and sees them as opportunities for expansion? Murmurs of unease rippled through the chamber. Many representatives shifted in their seats or made nervous sounds in their various languages. The implications of Kim Tae-ho's words were becoming clear. You see, he continued, when we first encountered galactic civilization, we made a choice. We could have expanded at our natural rate, claiming every world that interested us. Instead, we decided to be considerate neighbors. We limited ourselves to areas you thought were empty because you considered them too dangerous to explore. The displays changed to show comparative population maps. The official human space with 13 colonies was highlighted in blue. The actual human space with over 400 thriving worlds was highlighted in red. The red zones covered 30% of the galaxy. Professor Yang Miran, Earth's leading expert on human evolution, stepped forward to address the chamber. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes, but her words carried the weight of scientific authority that even alien civilizations respected. You have been studying our species for 3 decades, Professor Yang said. Your scientists have written papers about human adaptability and resilience, but they have missed the most important point. We are not a species that adapted to survive on a dangerous world. We are a species that finds dangerous worlds comfortable. She activated her own presentation showing human evolutionary history. Every step in our development was driven by our ancestors choosing to explore more challenging environments instead of staying in safe ones. When early humans could have remained in comfortable forests, they chose to explore dangerous savannas. When they could have stayed in temperate regions, they chose to spread to ice ages and deserts and mountain peaks. The alien representatives watched charts showing human expansion patterns. Unlike every other species in the galaxy, humans consistently moved toward greater challenges instead of away from them. This is not survival behavior, Professor Yang explained. This is expansion behavior. We do not see hostile environments as obstacles to overcome. We see them as frontiers to explore. Captain Lim Jae-sung chose that moment to broadcast from his new assignment. His exploration vessel, the Pathfinder, was currently stationed at the edge of a black hole's photon sphere, a location that existed at the boundary between normal space and the point of no return. Galactic Council, this is Captain Lim reporting from our newest research facility. His voice came through the communication system. We have successfully established humanity's first permanent research station inside a black hole's photon sphere. The gravitational effects here allow us to conduct experiments that are impossible in normal space. The camera view from his ship showed a human space station floating in twisted space-time where alien physics said matter should not be able to exist in any stable form. Human scientists could be seen working in laboratories while reality itself bent and warped around them. The view from here is incredible, Captain Lim continued cheerfully. We are opening this location for tourism next year. Advance bookings are already filling up. Several alien representatives made sounds that their translators rendered as horrified gasping. The idea of using a black hole as a tourist destination was beyond their ability to comprehend. Ambassador Kim Tae-ho resumed his presentation. We understand that our capabilities have been surprising to many of you. We want to assure the Council that humanity has no intention of using our advantages aggressively. We simply wish to be recognized for what we actually are, rather than what you assumed we were. Councillor Vextar, the same hegemony representative who had proposed the containment protocol months earlier, raised one of his metallic arms. Ambassador Kim, if humans are as powerful as these demonstrations suggest, why did you hide your capabilities for so long? Kim Tae-ho smiled sadly. Counselor, we hid our capabilities for the same reason that an adult does not arm wrestle with children. We thought it would be unkind to make you feel inadequate. We believe that galactic civilization was built on cooperation and mutual respect, not on displays of strength. He paused to let his words sink in. We were wrong. By hiding our true nature, we allowed you to develop policies based on false assumptions. The containment protocol was the result. You tried to protect us from environments where millions of our people already live comfortable lives. The chamber erupted in confused discussions as representatives tried to process the implications. If humans had been hiding their strength out of politeness, what did that say about the power balance in the galaxy? How many other assumptions about human limitations were wrong? Dr. Ha Yun-ji, Director of Galactic Relations, stepped forward with more uncomfortable truths. We have received many questions about our military capabilities following the recent engagement with the Hegemony Fleet. The victory was achieved using standard defensive equipment and basic tactical doctrine. No advanced weapons or experimental technology was required. She activated tactical displays showing the battle analysis. The human vessels involved were engaged in routine training exercises when the Hegemony Fleet arrived. Our ships were not even configured for combat operations. They were practicing navigation techniques in hazardous space. The displays showed human ships using black holes, stellar cores, and dimensional anomalies as cover and concealment. What had seemed like advanced military tactics to the aliens were actually basic safety procedures for humans operating in dangerous environments. The defeat of the Hegemony Fleet was not the result of superior human weapons, Dr. Ha continued. It was the result of fighting in environments where our opponents could not survive to return fire. This revelation sent new waves of unease through the chamber. The humans had not needed advanced military technology to defeat the largest fleet ever assembled. They had simply used their natural operating environment as a weapon. Coordinator Fluxera called for order as the discussions grew more heated. The Council recognizes that humanity's revealed capabilities require us to reconsider many of our policies and assumptions. We propose the formation of a joint commission to study the implications and make recommendations for future cooperation. Ambassador Kim Tae-ho nodded diplomatically. Humanity would be happy to participate in such a commission. We hope it will lead to more accurate understanding between our peoples. As the Council session ended, representatives from dozens of species approached the human delegation with requests for meetings, technology sharing agreements, and defense partnerships. The same aliens who had been trying to protect humanity months earlier were now hoping humanity might be willing to protect them. The balance of power in the galaxy had not just shifted. It had been completely rewritten, and throughout it all, humans continued to be polite, helpful, and considerate neighbors, just as they had always been, even when the galaxy had no idea who they really were. 5 years had passed since humanity stopped pretending to be weak. The galaxy had settled into a new rhythm, one where the most dangerous places in the universe had become the most likely spots to find human cities, research stations, and vacation resorts. Captain Park Jong-min commanded the newest class of human vessels, ships that other species studied like artifacts from an impossible future. His ship, the Horizon Walker, was currently docked at Nexus Station, a human facility built in the gravitational sweet spot between 4 colliding galaxies. The location provided incredible energy for research while offering views that tourism companies across the galaxy advertised as beyond imagination. AO, young alien cadet named Ziploc, approached Captain Park during a diplomatic tour. Ziploc belonged to a species that had only recently joined the Galactic Council. Like most newcomers, he was struggling to understand humanity's place in the cosmic order. Captain Park, the cadet asked through his translator device. My instructors tell me that humans became the most powerful species in the galaxy very quickly. How did your people develop such incredible abilities? Captain Park smiled and gestured toward the observation windows, where the collision of 4 galaxies created light shows that painted space in colors that had no names. Young cadet, you are asking the wrong question. We did not become powerful. We just stopped pretending to be weak. The cadet's tentacles curled in confusion, which Captain Park had learned was how his species expressed puzzlement. I do not understand, sir. How can someone pretend to be weaker than they are? Imagine, Captain Park said, that you are playing a game with small children. You could win easily, but that would not be fun for anyone. So you hold back. You let them think they have a chance. You celebrate their small victories and pretend their advantages matter. This is what humanity did with the galaxy for 30 years. Ziplock's translator struggled with the concept. His species had no cultural reference for deliberately limiting one's own capabilities for the comfort of others. But why would you do this? Why not show your true strength from the beginning? Captain Park pointed to a nearby display showing human colonies scattered across the galaxy's most hostile environments. Because we believed the galaxy worked on cooperation and mutual respect. We thought that showing off our abilities would be rude. We were wrong, but our intentions were good. Meanwhile, in the deep archives of the Galactic Historical Society, an elderly scholar named Dr. Lee Soo-young was completing her research into the period that historians now called the Great Revelation. Her work had taken her through decades of diplomatic records, military reports, and scientific studies. What she found painted a picture that still amazed her. The evidence was always there, she dictated to her recording device. Human ships consistently showed up in locations where they should have been destroyed. Human colonies thrived in environments that killed other species instantly. Human diplomats made requests for territory that everyone knew was uninhabitable. She pulled up communication records from the early years of human-alien contact. In retrospect, the humans were not hiding their capabilities at all. They were simply allowing others to draw their own conclusions. When aliens assumed humans were weak, humans did not correct them. When aliens offered protection from dangerous environments, humans politely accepted help they did not need. Dr. Lee's research showed that many alien governments had classified human achievements as impossible, rather than admitting their own limitations. Human mining operations in lethal radiation zones were explained as equipment failures in alien reports. Human cities in gravitational anomaly fields were dismissed as sensor errors in official surveys. The galaxy chose not to see what was happening, Dr. Lee concluded. It was easier to maintain their assumptions than to face the reality that a species they considered junior partners was actually operating on a completely different level. The stories had become legends now. Children of a dozen species learned about the day humans emerged from hiding. The tales grew with each telling, but the core truth remained. The galaxy had discovered they were sharing space with beings who treated the most dangerous locations in the universe as comfortable neighborhoods. Commander Nam Ji-hoon ran the human embassy on Sanctuary Prime, the heavily protected capital world of the Peaceful Alliance. The planet was surrounded by defensive systems designed to protect its inhabitants from cosmic radiation, meteor impacts, and solar flares. To the aliens who lived there, it represented the ultimate in safe, controlled living. To Commander Nam, it felt like being trapped in a protective bubble. Ambassador Krindal, he said to his Centaurian counterpart during their weekly meeting, your people have asked again about human defensive technology. They want to know how we protect our colonies from cosmic hazards. Ambassador Krindal leaned forward eagerly. His species had spent centuries perfecting protective systems, and they desperately wanted to understand human methods. Yes, Commander. Our engineers cannot comprehend how your colonies survive without massive defensive installations. What is your secret? Commander Nam chose his words carefully. Ambassador, we do not protect our colonies from cosmic hazards. We build our colonies in places where cosmic hazards are part of the natural environment. Our people do not need protection from radiation, gravitational stress, or temporal distortions because these things do not harm us. The answer, as always, left Ambassador Krindal more confused than before. The concept that humans might actually be adapted to dangerous environments rather than just surviving them remained difficult for most aliens to accept. Dr. Ha Yunji, now in her final years as Director of Galactic Relations, often reflected on humanity's journey from polite junior partners to reluctant galactic leaders. Her office overlooked New Geneva, Earth's diplomatic district, where representatives from hundreds of species came to seek human assistance with problems their own technologies could not solve. "We never wanted to lead," she wrote in her memoirs. "We just wanted to explore, to build, to grow. But when you are the only species that can safely approach a stellar engineering project or establish research stations in dimensional anomalies, leadership becomes unavoidable." She paused in her writing to watch a group of alien students touring the human space program facilities. They were observing the construction of a new exploration vessel, designed to investigate the space between galaxies. The engineering requirements for such a journey were beyond most alien comprehension, but for humans it was just another interesting challenge. "The galaxy still whispers about us," she continued writing. "They whisper about the ships that dance with black holes. They whisper about the colonies that thrive in stellar cores. They whisper about the species that looked at the most lethal places in existence and decided they would make good neighborhoods. The whispers carried truth that even humans sometimes forgot. They had not conquered the galaxy through force or technology. They had simply revealed that their definition of habitable space included everywhere." Captain Park Jung-min finished his conversation with the young alien cadet and returned to his duties. The Horizon Walker was scheduled to depart for a survey mission in the void between galactic clusters, a region so empty and hostile that most species considered it theoretical rather than real. For humans, it was just another day at the office. As his ship prepared for departure, Captain Park received a message from Earth Command. "Horizon Walker, you are authorized to establish our first research outpost in extragalactic space. Mission parameters are flexible. Find something interesting and build something amazing." Captain Park smiled as he gave the order to depart. Behind him, Nexus Station continued its work in the collision zone of 4 galaxies, a location that remained impossible in the eyes of most alien scientists. The galaxy whispered about moments like this. They whispered about the day the universe learned that humanity had never been limited by what others considered possible. They whispered about the species that treated the laws of physics like guidelines and the deadliest places in creation like home. And in those whispers, carried across the cosmic void from star to star, one truth echoed eternal: never mistake human kindness for human weakness. The difference between the two had reshaped the galaxy itself. The universe was vast and full of wonders. Most species spent their time finding safe places to hide from its dangers. Humans spent their time finding new dangers to explore. And that, more than any technology or weapon, was what made them the most powerful force the galaxy had ever encountered. The whispers would continue for generations, growing into legends, then myths, then fundamental truths about the nature of reality itself. But those who lived through the Great Revelation would always remember the simple truth behind all the stories. Humanity had never been weak. They had just been polite. And the day they stopped being polite was the day the galaxy learned what real power looked like.